Welcome to the last white space of 2016. I'm Peter Judge. With me are Max Smollex and Sebastian Moss to talk about what's been going on in data centres. This time we're going to talk about our top stories for the year. Do you want to start, Max?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, it has been a roller coaster year. We had truly weird things happening. Okay, I don't mention Trump and Brexit are the obvious ones, but then there was things like Microsoft embracing open source. Now that's the usual one. If you would have told someone 10 years ago that Microsoft would be doing the things it does now with Linux, people would think you're crazy, but there you go. One of the, I think, interesting points this year was on the cloud adoption, was when Larry Ellison went on stage at the, was it Oracle World, whatever the show was called, and said that, yeah, we want to take on Amazon in the cloud. And that's the same Larry Ellison who I think in 2008 said, like, what the hell is cloud? I don't understand it, it sounds like gibberish.
Yes, he did. Yes, we've tracked that one and it's going to be interesting. I think we'd have to say best of luck.
No, but I don't think the importance of this is not about Oracle, an Oracle Cloud. I don't think Oracle Cloud, okay, maybe it's going to work, maybe it doesn't, but it's the exception by the, like traditional business community of this new thing, and they've embraced it, because like Amazon is still, Amazon is for people who build stuff, it's not for the execs. Oracle promoting cloud is great because business people who don't understand this stuff, for whom it all sounds like gibberish, they will now start making decisions, and they say, well, it's good for Larry, it's good for me.
Although, when she met Trump, Safra Catz, co-CEO of Oracle, did apparently call cloud overhyped. So
it's still there.
They're still them being a bit dubious about cloud.
Okay, I mean, to think about this year, I've been looking through our magazines and one or two others which have been equally interesting. But we've produced a fairly substantial bunch of magazines, and I reckon that by the time you're watching this, you're sitting back with a cup of tea or something similar. Eggnog. Possibly eggnog. Yes, whatever eggnog is. And
eggnog.
Our December-January issue doesn't exist yet. I can show you a small preview of it there. But you will, if you're a subscriber, and if you're not, why on earth aren't you? Have a little stack of these magazines and plenty of stories to look back through. My favourite, I think, would be the one about the power use of data centres. This issue, Okay, there's been a widespread kind of meme that data centre power use is out of control. It's already using 2% of the electrical power in the world, and some people misquote that and say 2% of the power in the world. And that's obviously going to be growing massively because of the massive expansion of storage and processing in data centres. But it turns out that when the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory in America looked at the data centres that they could see, the co-location enterprise and big data centres in the States, they found that even though the capacity of the data centres was growing massively, their energy use was pretty much level, and it has been since about 2005. And they projected in the future that if people do the right efficiency measures, it will carry on being level. And if they shove everything into the cloud where it can be consolidated till it takes up almost no space at all, the actual energy use can go down even though the capacity goes up.
And then also with those cloud companies, a lot of them are power purchasing agreements to renewable energy. So they're bringing new energy into the system. So if you look at it from that perspective, they're even not using energy really.
Yes, and this is also great from a sort of like peace of mind point of view, because like we're all guilty by association. Every time they say, we need to lower our energy consumption, we're really sort of like blasting through everything we have in terms of natural resources, and you think, okay, yeah, that's kind of true, but what can I do? And it turns out that no, actually it's not that terrible, and we're not killing the planet.
It's fine, burn everything.
Okay, but it has to be said still that most of the data centres out there are the inefficient kind, that the amount of IT that actually is in the cloud is still a minority of the IT that's out there. Well, however, the kind of massive press coverage of Amazon, Google, and the like may suggest otherwise. There's a lot of stuff in old school inefficient data centers.
But even China now has efficiency guidelines, so there's hope.
So yes. So if I had a New Year's resolution, it would be to carry on getting the best information I can about this, to make sure that we're sort of contributing to discussion rather than needless hot air. Sebastian.
Yes, this has been the year of the cyber attack, and we're all going to die. Now, it's been a wonderful year if you like writing about cybersecurity. If you have data, maybe not so great a year. So we've had Yahoo. Well, they got hacked previously, but we found out they've got hacked. First, it was the world record-breaking 500 million, and then they were like, how do we make this even worse, even while we're being acquired by Verizon? Let's double it to 1 billion. Meanwhile, you have an entire world election that may have been altered because of phishing emails. People say, oh, big evil Russian hack. It was just a phishing email, let's be honest. We could do that, and we're not very good. And then you've got DDoS. DDoS has made a revenge of the DDoS Internet of Things. It's here to kill us all and knock us all offline. You had Mirai knock out Spotify, Netflix, whatever. Everything you've got something knock out, finish heating. And there's some new ones on the scene that we haven't even named yet. So if you're in the mood for naming a botnet, it's time for some christening.
Right. Yes. I mean, the DDoS thing caught everyone's attention because this is where at the time it's based on the Internet of Things. It's based on devices which nobody even really considered the internet security of. Things like, they obviously considered they had to be on the net. Things like webcams, security cameras obviously are networked. But the fact that they have a network-facing connection means they're potentially hackable. So it really, really wasn't a good idea to put them out there with default passwords.
That is sometimes password.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like, this has followed on from 2015, but this has been a big year for memory. So this year we've had Intel with its 3D Crosspoint talking our ear off. We've had Netlist releasing HybriDIMM, which is like a whole different take on persistent memory. We've had HPE's persistent memory. And this is before we get into the really interesting, really juicy stuff like phase change or racetrack. So all of that is sort of like just around the bend. But people have already started thinking, what is computing going to look like when we have lots of memory and actually your CPU is not that important anymore? And HP is obviously working on this concept with the machine. So now it turns out the machine is mostly about the memory. There's no secret sauce, there's no magical quantum things, there's just lots and lots of memory connected with silicon photonics. But this changes the paradigm. Like when you can run all of your compute in memory without relying on storage, you get a different level of performance. And like for your big data analytics, for your AI research, for deep learning, this is going to be what's going to move those things forward. This in GPUs. But do you want to mention GPUs?
So the machine's more about memory. I thought it was more about marketing, but no, GPUs.
It was made of wood when I saw it.
Well, it is a machine. But no, this is also a good year for GPUs. I mean, we wrote about the beauty of GPUs coming from wonderful video games and how they spread from there. And obviously, NVIDIA dominates the GPU market. If I spend some time with AMD, they'll very much trust us this time. When we said a couple of years ago that we're going to get in the data center with our GPUs, well, now we are. And I hope so. They've put up preliminary kind of deals with Alibaba and Google, who, as we said, are nowhere near on the same scale as AWS, but they really want to get in. They're willing to work and make it open source as much as they can and actually try and work on the software side, which is something that they've been lacking. They've always had good GPUs if you're a gamer, but the software has never been up to scratch.
Yeah. And lest we forget, because Apple's dustbin computers, they still run on AMD gear, so that's a big vote of confidence for them. So silicon is good, and now it's just slicing it into the data center in the right configuration, basically.
Yeah, and it's all about heterogeneous architecture, all about working together. You get your CPU, you get your GPU, get all your specialized stuff, get your FPGAs, put it all in one big thing, and then it can do all the machine learning that they think is the future.
Okay. On hardware, for me, the exciting thing has been a series of open source web scale hardware announcements. So, the Open Compute project had Open Rack and has made various open switches. And then we had LinkedIn coming in and making their own switches. Microsoft had already been sharing quite a lot of open source hardware.
Which is, again, weird.
Yes, absolutely. And then they kind of even went one stage further and talked about sharing incomplete open source, taking incomplete open source hardware, which will be completed. So the Olympus project is like, actual shared development rather than them just making something, saying, here's something we designed and we use, you're welcome to use it. They're saying, let's make a new server and then decide on how, the various, fork it, make it how you like it.
Just fork it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but the key elements are there, especially the power distribution. I mean, the power distribution through the rack it just looks insane, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's issues to sort out there. Is that power distribution going to be DC, 48 volts, DC a different voltage, or AC? Turns out the Microsoft Olympus is going to be AC for very good reasons, apparently, after having other people having told us that DC is the way to go. We're like back in the days of Edison and Tesla.
Let's kill some elephants. Yeah.
Okay, so we've had a great year at DCD. We're looking forward to a bit of a break, and we're going to come back and do all sorts of more exciting things in 2017. We hope to see you at some of our events. If not, we'll see you online. Do read the website, read the magazine, watch White Space, and have a good break. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.